going on, guys? Snake Eyes here, playing some more Dark Souls 2, and I don't know what I'm doing in this video. This is gonna be kind of like how I did my 100 sub deal, where I just pretty much talk until I exhaust myself, really. I hit 250 subs like 2 days ago or something like that, which has been awesome. I've kind of been procrastinating as far as, you know, doing some videos about this because I don't really know what to do, and I figured I might as well do it kind of like how I did the 100, where I talked a little bit about lore and how far I was in the game and what I was doing, and after the fact I just put together some random gameplay that you guys can probably watch. Maybe I'm in an area you haven't been in, so you can kind of use that gameplay as kind of like your own little mini guide to it. And as far as like guides, I don't really have a time, I guess, on when I would do like an official walkthrough of each area, because it kind of takes a while. Not only that, a lot of people are actually doing it, so that's kind of something that I don't really, you know, it takes a lot of time to actually do the guides. And like I said, a lot of people are really doing it, and then most people are just gonna watch who they prefer to watch. And since I'm still relatively new, I'm pretty sure I'm not like a contender for that. So I just kind of do my own thing and really just upload either stuff that's entertaining or informative, or, you know, pretty much whatever I thought was cool, or just, you know, hidden things, you know, whatever I feel like somebody else isn't uploading. That's kind of how I do my thing. And the reason I'm saying this is because, like I said, I just hit 250 subs. That's 150 new people that saw one or more videos and decide to stick around for the long haul. So this is, I guess, my official welcome. I appreciate it, and as I always do, as I always say in the comments and everything, that it really helps me out. It really does, because I've been doing this for a long time. I feel like I should like officially introduce myself, but I wouldn't even know how to do that. It'd be like high school all over again. But I guess I've been doing this for about 3 years or so, on and off mainly. I haven't been doing it straight, but I always found myself bouncing back between games. I'd always fall back on Call of Duty. That was just kind of my deal. That was the thing that I really liked, and at the time, I think I was around like 16. I'm 21 right now, by the way, if that matters. But yeah, I was around 16, and I found myself playing a Metal Gear Solid 4. I don't know if you guys are familiar with that. I'm also a PS3 guy too. I played Xbox, but in 1 year I went through 4 Xboxes, and they kind of just lost my love on that. I really can't stick by a console that shitted out on me 4 times in a year, for that matter. And then I picked up my PlayStation back when it was still pretty damn expensive. It was like $600 for like a 40 gigabyte system. It was crazy. But yeah, and I kept that for 5 years until I bought this new one just now. And I mean, that one system lasted me 5 years, so, you know, that's kind of where my love for Sony just kind of like flourished, I guess, if you want to call it. But I ended up getting into a game called Metal Gear Solid 4. Not the story mode, but they actually had online in that game, and it was called Metal Gear Online. And that was where I pretty much fell in love with competitive gaming and pushing to be better at something, because a game like that, when you played online, it was a huge learning curve. So, you know, it's something like if you stepped in it when it was already going, it would probably lose you, because everybody has already, I guess, established a base for themselves, and are able to, I guess, handle themselves in certain situations and kind of make it seem easy. But like I said, that was a game that you really had to work at, because if not, then you could get bad. And those servers lasted for about 4 years, and I played for 2, but then I got bored, and family members started getting PS3s also, and that was when Modern Warfare 2 came out. So I decided to get that and play with them, and I stopped playing Metal Gear Online for about 6 months, and then when I came back, I was just like horrible at it. It was pretty bad, like considering to where I was at to what I had actually gotten. it was pretty noticeable. And I'm gonna get into Dark Souls 2 right now. This is kind of just like I said, I'm just talking off the top of my head and just going at my own pace. But you know, for people who want to, I guess, hear more about Dark Souls, you can fast forward a little bit. And like I said, this is just my own I don't know, introduction or whatever you want to call it. But so yeah, I ended up playing Modern Warfare 2, and that's where I ended up really liking Call of Duty. And from then to probably even now, I still play Ghost, but that's besides the point. That game never, Call of Duty never grabbed me as much as, you know, Metal Gear Online did, as twisted as that sounded. But mainly because I could ditch Call of Duty for, you know, the same amount of time, you know, 6 months just not playing at all, and I can come back on and still do relatively good. You know, I'm not the best at it, but I mean, I can handle myself in that game too. But that's mainly because I guess I developed a little smarts from Metal Gear Online, because like I said, that game actually, you know, it could teach you a couple of things if you're willing to put forth the effort, kind of like Dark Souls 2. That's why I really love Dark Souls 2. But yeah, you know, if you dedicate enough time into a game that's punishing and a game that requires a lot of learning off of your mistakes, then a game like that could keep you for a very long time. And it wasn't the game that actually, you know, steered me away from it. It was actually the people in the game, because, you know, people started establishing themselves as far as like top tier players and like middle tier and low tier, and then some of the middle and low tier people just, I guess, couldn't handle it, or they just didn't really want to put forth the effort that a lot of people did, and they started hacking and they started cheating, and that just stopped being fun. You know, it stops being fun once everybody cheats and then try to get the easy wins, and also disconnecting you before you even get a chance to start the match. You know, it was a lot of stuff, and like I said, the game itself was perfect, but, you know, the people in there, as far as the cheating people, kind of just ruined it all. But yeah, so I ended up doing Call of Duty for a while, and that was when Machinima and all them started coming up, and a lot of Call of Duty people were doing their thing, and that was actually the game to play. So I figured, hell, I was playing Modern Warfare 2. I couldn't afford all the stuff until I did Black Ops, until the first Black Ops came out. And those videos are still up. I don't know if you feel like searching for them, but they're still there if you guys are interested, but I'm not too sure you guys are. But anyways, I started doing those, and I did that on and off for, you know, like I said, about 3 years or so. And then I just stopped because I got a job and I started having to, you know, take care of other things, and that pretty much, you know, put a halt to video making. And I just started coming back about 6 months ago, and I did Ghost, and I did a couple of Let's Plays that sadly I didn't finish, mainly because, like I said, a lot of time gets invested in making Let's Plays. You'd be surprised actually on how much time gets invested, which is another reason why, like I said, I don't really want to do one for Dark Souls just yet, because in a game like this, if you don't really know the areas, and you're not careful, it's inevitable that you're gonna die. And to go in blind and die, and, you know, spend maybe an hour or two in an area that, if you think about it, only takes about 30 to 45 minutes to clear, that's something that I don't want to put you guys through. You know, I don't want you guys to look through my mistakes or whatever, or not look through my mistakes, but like see them, you know what I'm saying? So I want to be able to play through the game, and maybe I'll do one in New Game Plus. It'll be harder, but I'll know what I'm getting myself into, and hopefully it can be alright. But like I said, maybe not. I'm still thinking about that, because there's actually a lot of stuff in this game that I do want to cover before anything else. And so yeah, what's it called? I did a couple Let's Plays, didn't finish those. Then I started doing South Park. South Park was actually the game that I did before this, and I did that kind of in a style that I was just trying, because I started deciding I wanted to try out a lot of different ways that I should upload and do all this and that before anything else. And then I ended up finding a nice little style as far as doing South Park. I would do like minute-long videos, but I'd upload like 6 or 7 of them real quick. They're real easy to make. I didn't do commentary on most of them because it was more of the subject that was in that 1 minute video that was more important than me narrating over it. So I didn't do any of that, and those actually did fairly well considering what I was getting beforehand. And so yeah, I started getting really into wanting to get these videos up again, because I was seeing that these 1 minute videos are getting me 20-30 views, and I appreciate that stuff. I don't take it for granted. And 20-30 views, you guys might be like, that's nothing, and it really isn't. But that's because 20 or 30 views is what I guess what little people would get, and that's kind of what I am. I'm still establishing myself, and everybody's so used to people getting thousands of views, but I still remember it at a time when Machinima started. They were getting a couple hundred, and if you look at them now, they have 10 million people. So that's how I see it, where I'm obviously starting from the ground up, so I'm never gonna get million view hits or even 1,000 view hits for that matter. So I appreciate what I do get, and that's kind of where I come at as far as perspective wise. So yeah, I was getting those, and that actually kind of inspired me, because like I said, about 20-30 views for every video. It didn't take much time, and I was doing about 5 to 7 videos a day. That actually was fairly satisfying for me. And then I love Dark Souls. I've actually watched playthroughs. I have my YouTubers that I go to when I want to see Dark Souls and Demon Souls and all that stuff. I mainly watch Epic Name Bro. That's the main person I watch, mainly because I like the way that he commentates. I like the way that he speaks, and then all around he plays fairly smart. And if you haven't checked him out, I'll actually link it, because I think if you haven't seen his stuff, I think you should check it out. He's doing a walkthrough as well, but he's older. He has his own jobs and all that stuff, so it's you have to kind of understand where he's coming from, where he can't upload as much and as often as the rest of us can. But when he does upload, it's always quality stuff and very entertaining. Like I said, I'll link it in the description below. But he actually kind of gave me the idea to want to do this for Dark Souls 2, because he started off in Japan. He lived in Japan, and he did a Japanese walkthrough for Dark Souls, and I watched that. He actually helped me pretty damn big, because I think on his first or second episode he cut off the dragon's tail, and he got the Drake sword. And that Drake sword had a base damage of like 200, and it like one-shotted every enemy, or every normal enemy, for a good part of the game. And then by the time you got the materials to upgrade it, you didn't even need to anymore, because you found items that were generally a lot better. So he helped me out with that big time. He let me, through showing me that, he allowed me to kind of progress on my own. And then also I would always come back and watch his stuff, because I wanted to see if maybe I missed out on something, or just wanted to see how he did it. And that's kind of how I learned to play. He has a different play style than me. He likes they're not great swords. They're not long swords. They're the ones in the middle, the Bastard Sword and the Claymore. That's my fault for not knowing it, but those are a little too slow for me. I like katanas and all that stuff, so I kind of had to learn how to play that on my own. But like I said, overall he was pretty good. And then he also did lore. He was actually one of the first people to get into the story of Dark Souls, and he was actually, like I said, one of the first people to make people actually want to look into the story even more. And little things of like reading item descriptions back then wasn't necessarily something that people did on the regular. You pick up an item, you see what it does, and then that's it. You don't look at the 1 or 2 sentences that they write down below that gives you a little bit more detail about the story than you already know. And then it's not even detail, it's just a piece of a big puzzle, and you have to piece it together yourself. And that's where the speculation comes from, and that's where people start getting wild with it. And that's what really turned me on to like the community, because people were coming up with a lot of different speculations and theories and stuff like that, and it actually through that led From Software to actually make DLC, even though they said they weren't. They did it on Artorias of all people, and at the time he was actually very, very liked. And even though they only mentioned him in a couple of things and then you kind of had to piece it together, they actually gave you some more story through DLC to start drawing more types of theories and all that stuff. It didn't become theories no more. It was more set in stone type stories, you know. And that was awesome. I never got to play it, which I kind of regret, but I saw his playthrough on it, and it was, like I said, quality as always. And like I said, I started watching him because he kind of started the whole thing. Whether he'll take credit for it or not, he was definitely one of the starting persons, and that's kind of where I got my inspiration, because like I said, I knew Dark Souls 2 was coming out, so I knew what I wanted to do right away, but I also felt a little conflicted about it because I didn't know if he was going to do that. And then sure enough, he just says he's doing a playthrough, which is respectable, because the playthrough that he's doing right now, or the walkthrough, is very, very detailed on people who are very new to the game. You know, it's not really a walkthrough for people who can strip all their armor and two-hand a great sword and just run through the game like that. It's for people who are generally new to it and wouldn't know how to deal with stuff. So like I said, I actually like that, because like I said, everybody comes in and they want to do their playthrough based on how they played before, and he's doing it with the people who've never played it in his mind. So like I said, it's all around good stuff, and that right there was kind of like a go ahead for me to want to go ahead and do lore, a little bit of lore, you know, gameplay mechanics, secrets, items, invasions, you know, stuff like that, showcases. This game has a lot of stuff in it to where I can keep myself busy for a very long time, even doing, you know, 3 to 5 videos a day. It's been more like 3 lately, but that's just because I want to pace myself. I don't want to overwork myself and then take a break. 3 is a comfortable point for me, and I have a schedule set based on the fact that I do work 6 days a week, and 5 of those days are actually 12-hour days. So I actually do have a base set schedule where 3 videos a day is not exhausting. So, and then I make them relatively short because, like I said, I just want to get to the point. That video is going to be about that subject alone. I usually title what it's doing, and then I, you know, do the thumbnail to let people know that that's all I'm really going to talk about. If I feel comfortable, I go a little bit more into detail, but other than that, I really just talk about that one point, so that way people can decide right then and there before they even click whether they want to watch it or not. So that's how I kind of get my stuff from, and like I said, it can keep me busy for a very long time, and I'm also happy to see that there's people who are enjoying it. I've been talking with a lot of you guys, and you guys have been really awesome, and I do have my moments where I'll get, I guess, negative feedback, but that's kind of the way that you are not going to get me to reply, because I just don't want to get worked up on that, and I don't want to just argue, because there's just really no point. But I don't really want to focus and talk about too much on that. It's just, you know, if I don't, and it's not meant to be like, if I don't reply to your comment, it's because I thought it was negative. It's more of, if you're negative, then it's pretty much not going to be replied. And people have made their suggestions, and I've corrected myself and been like, you know, I'm sorry, I generally didn't know that because I uploaded it right when the game came out, and nobody knew at that time, so I just had to do what I thought was the right thing, and it turned out to be wrong, and like I said, I stand corrected, and I'm not ashamed, and I wasn't trying to fool nobody. I was literally just going off of what I thought was it, and you know, it wasn't. So like I said, you know, I stand corrected, and it's fine. But once I say that, and then to continue to get more stuff on that, kind of just makes me just tune out those type of comments. But anyways, like I said, I kind of like stretched that out as far as a long introduction and whatnot. I'm already, I think, like 20 minutes in, depending. That's what my recording says. I probably got a couple of the beginning that I need to trim out there, but yeah, I've been playing this game for a good minute, as much as I can, as often as I can, and I still haven't beaten the game yet, which kind of sucks, but it's no big deal. And I kind of like to advance at my own pace, and then especially if I go into a new area, I like to like give it a once over after I'm completed it, just in case I might miss anything. And sure enough, I come back and I'll find stuff that I didn't find the first time, or overlooked, and you know, I made like a mental note like I'll come back later, and I never did. And then when I do it over again, it's there, and I'm like, holy shit, I can do this now too. And that's kind of how I play it. So it's been pretty interesting so far. I've been getting into the lore and all this stuff, and Strayed was actually the person, now that I just reminded myself, was one of the persons that I definitely wanted to talk about right now, because I went through his dialogue, I read some of his item descriptions, and all that good stuff. And Strayed is actually pretty interesting in a lore aspect, because he's old. He's like really old. He's at least, I don't want to say a couple, I don't want to give him an age because it's not how I want to do it, but as far as like kingdoms go, he's at least like one kingdom old, if that makes sense, because he's never heard of Drangleic, and Drangleic's been around long enough for people to recognize it as a name. And it's even been around enough for people to actually hear rumors from Chloanne's dialogue. She said that Drangleic used to go by another name, but she doesn't know the other name. And that's how long it's been up, because obviously if it was maybe even 100 years or 200 years, people can still from hearsay have an idea of what it might be called, but nobody really knows. So he's at least that old. And I think the kingdom that he was in, or the kingdom that was before Drangleic, was Olafus. I think through the item descriptions that I've been reading, more specifically his black armor set, he was pretty damn skilled in sorcery and pyromancy, which is kind of rare, because you get your sorcerers, you get your pyromancers, and then you get your miracle people, and they specialize in that. But he's actually specialized in two types of magic, I guess you want to call it. And that's pretty interesting, because like I said, that's not something that you come across regularly. And he sells some pretty advanced stuff. So I don't know if you've seen the stuff that he sells, but he actually sells a little bit of everything, which kind of gives you a little bit, or at least it gives me, I'll say that it gives me a little bit more of an idea of just exactly what he knows, because he sells, you know, sorceries, he sells pyromancies, he sells hexes and miracles. And usually the way that they do these games is the NPCs sell the stuff that they obviously know. You know, pyromancers sell pyromancy stuff and so on and so forth, but he sells a little bit of everything. So that kind of gets me to wonder, you know, this guy is actually pretty strong. And they kept him petrified for that very reason. He's somebody to not mess around with, and he obviously has no connections with anybody, because through his dialogue he says he wonders why nobody awoken him sooner, and that he doubts he'll be missed anyways, because he was a wanderer. He went through land to land, just learning as much as he can, and through that he's upped his skills to where they invited him to the kingdom, but they invited him for the sole purpose of just ambushing him and petrifying him, because he was getting too strong. And actually one of the things that is kind of interesting as far as a lore perspective on it is that he sells homing soul arrows, and in the homing soul arrows description, I don't have it on me, but through memory, it says that he pretty much invented it, which is kind of interesting because Big Hat Logan from Dark Souls actually invented it, and then he started getting into crystal sorcery when you let him inside the Duke's archives at Seath the Skelis's area. He started getting into crystal magic, and then he eventually got mad because, or he went mad because he just started hollowing out from there. And that kind of segues perfectly into another point that I want to bring up, that this thing is actually very heavy. The whole story, if you pay attention to it, is actually really heavy on two things. One's clear and one really isn't, and the first one that seems like really clear and in your face is they obviously focus a lot more into explaining exactly what the hollowing process is, and a lot of these NPCs are cursed and they're going hollow, and as you play the game you talk to them and they have their personalities, and slowly but surely they start losing a little bit of their memories and maybe even their personality. Like I said, that's something that I haven't beaten this game, so I don't exactly know, but for a fact they obviously are losing the memories because none of them seem to recall why they went to Drangleic. They just are there, and if they do recall, when you come back at a later time, they don't remember anymore. And like I said, it's kind of sad because you get to see people literally losing their mind and actually going hollow, and even through the health system in this game, every time you die you lose a little bit of your maximum health, and it's crazy because it's a little bit that at first you're like, I wouldn't miss it, and then you start losing more and more and more, and luckily they have a cap, but actually it's a cap but it's not, and I'll get into that in another video. But you get to a point where you lost half your health, and all those little insignificant deaths that didn't matter at the time now suddenly matter because it's all added up. And if you put yourself in the hollowing shoes, you lose a memory or two, it doesn't really matter. You lose a couple more, you lose your your I guess more recent memories, it still really doesn't matter because you got your personality. And then you lose your personality and now you're just hollow. And like I said, it focuses a lot more on the curse, because back in Dark Souls, I mean, you could literally just go through the whole game hollowed, and I mean, there's really nothing from that. There's nothing to lose. So I like how they focus more on the hollowing process in this game, because it actually gets you thinking and gets you seeing it exactly what it is. And the curse isn't that you can't die. The curse is that you lose yourself until you pretty much, I guess, hollow out and only are in it for souls. And like I said, anything you were or was is gone, and nobody knows you. Nobody knows any of the hollow soldiers that we run around killing. But if you think about it, they all had their own lives, their own personality, their own thing, and now they're just there to get killed. But the other thing that they also kind of focus on that isn't really apparent, and I kind of cheated and I looked a little in some guides, not to walk through an area, but to get story, because that's what I'm in it for. I'm in it for the story. I like to find items on my own, and if I miss it, I miss it. But I started looking at some guides mainly, like I said, to get story. And I found something pretty interesting, and this is kind of a big spoiler for people who haven't beaten the game yet. But obviously there are 4 people in this game that are the great soul people. The Lost Sinner's one of them, and there are others. Like I said, I haven't even gotten to that point yet. There are 3 others. You guys, I'm pretty sure, know. But in the first playthrough, you get their souls. In the second playthrough, you get vague descriptions. You get a different soul, but it's a vague description of what you would associate it with as the first 4 people that you beat in the first Dark Souls. You get the Old Witch Soul, the Drangleic Soul, and I don't remember the other 2. Actually, give me 1 second. I'm actually going to look up the name, and then I'll re-edit it. Okay, so yeah, you get the Old Witch Soul, the Old King Soul, the Old Dead One Soul, and the Old Drangleic Soul. And right there, it tells you the Witch Izalith, the Old Witch Soul, Lord Gwyn, which is the Old King Soul, Nito, the Grave Lord, which is the Old Dead One Soul, and Seath the Skelis, which is the Old Drangleic Soul. And those are actually the souls that you get from the 4 main bosses in this game. And where that kind of leads me to say is this game focuses a lot on reincarnation. If you think about it, the NPCs, some of the major NPCs, such as Strayed, could be a mirror image of NPCs that were in Dark Souls. They could, you can associate Strayed with Big Hat Logan, because Big Hat Logan at that time was a badass sorcerer. Now, he never gotten so advanced into learning pyromancy, miracles, and hexes, but he did pretty much introduce a new type of sorcery, which was Crystal, and Crystal focused on humanity. So he was very advanced because he kind of just broke ground with that. And Strayed was more of he's more of a loner and a wanderer. So for him to just focus more, he never had roots to settle. So it kind of makes sense where he just never focused on one thing and grew big in it. He had potential in him all along, and he used that potential as a way to easily learn different types of magic. So that's kind of where that goes into. Obviously, Big Hat Logan, he was a pretty chill dude, so he lived in an area where they focus a lot on sorcery, so he became a master sorcerer and went above and found something even better. And then there's also other people, even some of the blacksmiths you could associate with the blacksmiths in Dark Souls. Personally, and this is just my opinion, I associate McDuff more with I forgot his name, but he's the first blacksmith that you meet, and he's the one that everybody speculated that could be Gwyn's firstborn, because he had more story, but they never went in that direction because it was a time issue, and he just became a blacksmith, so that's just what he was. But that guy, I associate McDuff with him because just personality, but like I said, that's speculation on my part. And you can go around and you can look at these NPCs and they can remind you of just people in the game that remind you of Dark Souls, and it focuses a lot on reincarnation and the fact that they change in the game the types of souls, the types of great souls that you get when you go into New Game Plus is the biggest, I guess, in your face thing that they could do, because all the other things they can just be like, well, they just referenced it off of one of their old characters, but you can't reference a soul that mentions one of your previous people, and it has nothing to do with the people that are in this game. So that's kind of cool. And then those souls can be used to actually craft the weapons that you could get from them. I'm not too sure about the witch, the old one, or the dead one, and the Lord, but the Drangleic sword, if I'm not mistaken, I could be wrong, can be traded to Ornifix to make the Moonlight Greatsword. Not the Blue Moon Greatsword, because that's a fake, and that's something that I didn't know at that time. So hey, I honestly, like I said, went off of what I thought at the time, because I made that video like 2 days after the game came out. So my bad, I guess. I don't know what to say, but yeah, the Drangleic sword can actually be made into the Moonlight Greatsword, and like I said, that type of association is pretty cool if you think about it. And I guess if you want to think about it a little bit more, each one of those people can actually be associated with the people from Dark Souls. One thing that I thought was kind of weird, but it makes sense now, is the Lost Sinner. When you beat him, you can go back to Marlin, back in Majula, and buy the set. And you can do that for a couple of the bosses, Smelter Demon being one of them. And in the set, I looked at the item description, and his cuffs that the Lost Sinner has, for some weird reason, enhances Pyromancy. And I was like, well, that didn't make sense, because he was just a melee boss. He didn't really, as far as I know, have anything to do with Pyromancy. But it makes sense now, because actually when you kill him again in New Game Plus, he drops the old witch's soul, which is Izalith, and she was a pyromancer, and that makes sense now. So that's kind of cool to look back and be like, you know, I get it now. I get why that item is like that. And obviously I found, I guess, a little bit more prematurely than I was supposed to, but at the same time, like I said, the story is just what's getting me very interested in this game. The mechanics in this game are really awesome too. I've actually found some pretty decent weapons that I've been fooling around with. I actually just talked to one of my subscribers earlier, and I told him the club is the shit, because it really is. It has an A scaling, and you only need 12 strength, and I think like 6 dexterity, or maybe 3, I forgot, but an A scaling and strength, and then my strength is like at 25, I think, so I get a pretty decent bonus from that. And then I also found another katana, which is awesome, because at plus, I think 2 or 3, it goes from an A scaling in dexterity to an S scaling in dexterity, which is the best scaling you're going to get. And as soon as I saw that it had an S, I just started dumping all my materials and souls into that weapon, and I've been using it, and it's actually been really good. The one bad thing about katanas is they have notoriously bad, what is it? I had the word in my head. Durability. There it goes. I cut that out because I actually spent like 5 to 10 seconds thinking about that. But yeah, they have like notoriously bad durability, so that kind of sucks. But I have different weapons that I like to use anyways, so you know, once that starts running low, I just swap it out and use that. And all in all, the game has been pretty awesome. This has actually gone on a lot longer than I thought it was. I spent like 20 minutes just trying to, I guess, get my backstory out. And if you guys have watched this far, I mean, that's pretty badass. That's dedication for you right there, and that's something that I really do appreciate, because I'm doing this just, you know, pretty much off the top of my head. I never have subjects to talk about when I do these things, and I kind of just do whatever, I guess, happens to segue into another deal, and talk on that for a little while. But you know, if you guys watch this far, I appreciate it. I'm actually going to cut it right here, because rendering all this stuff is going to take forever, and I plan to have it up on Sunday, but if not Monday. So if it's up on Monday, then you already know what happened. But I won't miss a beat as far as uploading. I'm still, if I don't do this on Sunday, then you're going to get a couple of other videos that I already have made. But just like last time, this is going to be the only video that I upload for that time, for time reasons as far as on my end. And I hope you guys enjoy it, and if you did, leave a like, subscribe if you haven't already, if you're new and you just wanted to see what I was all about. And if you stuck through, not suck, but if you stuck through this whole rant, then like I said, that's pretty damn awesome. I appreciate that. But let me know how far you guys are into this game, and let me know what type of lore that you guys found. I'd be interested in talking to you guys with that. And I'm also gonna link Epic Name Bro's channel down below, because like I said, you know, he inspired me to kind of want to do this stuff, so it's been really cool. And he always said that the community was badass, but I didn't know how right he was until I started putting myself further into it. And he's right. You know, the community is awesome. You guys have been crazy with it, with all the support, all the suggestions, you know, just straight up talking to you guys. It's been awesome all around. And I'm gonna keep doing it, and hopefully we can hit 500 pretty soon. That'd be amazing. And then after that, we can just keep growing and growing, and then and then from there, who knows. But like I said, I'm gonna wrap it up. Thank you guys for watching. Until next time, take care.